32. We don't have 10 years to 195 nation ratify border defenses only. Putin might fry and freeze Earth and us in 10 weeks. Your emergency public communication I've detailed. Also yell for world nuclear weapon hair triggers to be delayed at least a week by bomb disassembly measures confirmed on 24/7 World TV. Although we idiots would probably still rush to Armageddon together, crisis reassembly during 7 days of fruitless negotiation, right? Jonathan Schell's best disarmament plan, the abolition, was also no such thing. His 6 months to put nukes back together cooling off period, begging the question, shouldn't monsters elaborately forestalling while still plotting and preparing doomsday just instead do the 1,000 times easier, billion times safer thing? Grind every bomb and rocket to dust and sprinkle 1 teaspoon over every square foot of Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, world telecasting every action? Why not? I'll tell you why not. Because the corrupt power freaks you and I won't lift a finger to legally defang by banning and destroying their destruction. Of course they reject disarmament for any deal letting the sneakiest one win a 7-day or 6-month reassemble arms race to first strike a world of defenseless suckers from underground. Then wait out nuclear winter for their 1,000-year empire. Piece of cake. Sure, hair trigger backoff makes humanity a full 1% safer. But why don't Jonathan and I just admit our pathetic surrender to the doomsday dudes? No different than 8 billion other family guarding, but all humanity ignoring, uncontrolling, abandoning fools. Nuclear disarmament also fails without rapid, full phase-out of nuclear power, always mining and enriching uranium, easily further purified to millions of TNT tons power explosive, also jammed into billion-killer bombs, always mounted on 17,000 miles per hour, unrecallable, unstoppable missiles. Only your treaty destroys all radioactive metal, closes every uranium mine, and guards every approach. As we fast perfect genetic cancer treatments, we also guard the last radiation machines too. Our lawsuits to stop abrogating and start enforcing our nuclear non-proliferation treaties, universal nuclear and conventional disarmament tenets must bully, not beg the 9 bomb holders to disarm, which will never happen without the other 186's world embargo and all money and contact cut off except food, water, and medicine until they destroy 10% bombs per annum. The current NNPT deal, send us reactor fuel while we watch you rush us to doomsday while breaking sworn world law to disarm, is 57 years dead. Whose fault is that? Power freaks enjoying zero world safety law enforcement? Nope, blame 8 billion lazy suicidal fools who've never bothered to file federal suits for treaty enforcement by universal negotiation. Then build our Plan B, 1,000 times stronger new treaty. Especially blame this zero-action fat mouth until I get you every speech, file my suits, and world negotiate our ultimate treaty my own damn self. But only you, nobody else, is gonna do this job a ton better. Since I was little, I imagine going to court to sue for world survival. So did Flip Wilson. All rise. Here come the judge. Here come the judge. Order in the courtroom. Here come the judge. Your Honor, for many decades now, 195 nations, including 9 nuclear bomb deployers, continue to abrogate their sworn NNP treaty law requiring all to negotiate for and achieve universal and attack army conventional disarmament. While weak on scheduling and enforcement, the text did not say, "No hurry. Wait till next century. Then forget the whole thing." I, and soon you, are working on a new treaty that ends the weaponeer leader corruption forcing doomsday, then pouring disarmament savings into world environmental crises about to kill billions just as fast. But mass death storms in many times faster than we can get another 195 ratifications. So judges around the world must fast enforce existing disarmament, not enforce, but illegally trashed. The American Constitution and most of other nations we are also suing in orders every government officer to fully obey their signed, ratified international treaty laws. Yet for 57 years, every nation watched doomsday power grow to potential nuclear groundburst power to lift 100 trillion tons of dirt to the stratosphere for 2 years. No sunlight, 28 degrees Fahrenheit. A few frozen bacteria might melt and revive. A smarter human race could try again, but not for another 2 billion years. But hey, proliferation slowed to 9 bombers, with 10 more easy builders in the wings. Who bothers to read anymore our sworn treaty? Who remembers its text, committing every signatory to the general, complete, nuclear, and conventional disarmament? The non-proliferation section. Bomb nations share but supervise non-bomb nations' use of nuclear power reactors so they don't divert the fuel to make bombs themselves. Seem to have a clear objective. Prevent 50 more bombers from ending the world, right? Wrong. From the 1960s, America and Russia alone fast built to 80 billion kill power. The big shots only signed the treaty to keep 180 plus nations defenseless and harmless against their 10,000 megaton domination monopoly. They said, enjoy your risky, in fact, some bomb-enabling nuclear power. Just shut up about world safety that we already doom. No way, shouted the overpowered little suckers. We demand that you bombers swear to destroy all genocide arsenals, already having slaughtered close to 200 million people since 1915, conventional and nuclear murder. Sure, punks, bullshitted the bombers. Whatever gets you off our backs. Where do we sign? Then all 195 liars have abrogated their treaty work for disarmament law for the next 58 years ever since. The non-bombers just wanted their nuclear reactors. The bombers just wanted to keep their monopoly. The non-bombers never again summoned guts and purpose to pressure world doomers to stop. And everybody knew that bombers' sworn promise to disarm deliberately left out any enforcement clause. Liars all. Merely national leaders 100% scratching out commercial corrupt careers. Screw the survival of 8 billion, imagining them public, not self-servants. Well, Your Honor, with a single legal truth, you and every parent and child on earth can seize back a robbed future. Faithless, lying, selfish, or malicious world treaty signatories are just as world law bound to obedience as better people. While this complainant allies with others filing suit for NNPT enforcement in almost every nation, representing most of 8 billion plaintiffs, this American appeals to you to take over United States negotiation for full treaty compliance, possible only multilaterally with other nations. Also driven by aggrieved citizens whose parents and grandparents forced this treaty adoption during the equally world-shattering 1960s. Defendants are every government illegally wrecking this treaty, not to mention the human race. Bomber Nation lawyers will be quick to crow, "No enforcement clause, yeah, yeah, yeah." Exactly what we're suing for. Please rule that my government must negotiate, especially with every other nation also guided by federal court intervention, also won. Every news and history-conscious person on earth knows that American 1950s massive retaliation nuclear war promise, the minute 3 million blitzkrieg Russians rolled over 20% that many Europeans and Americans, explodes again today in Alexander Putin's sick brain. He's calmed down while Ukrainian artillery shells run low. But spring to summer of 2024 may bring massive American rearmament. Last year, Putin was losing and 20 times sincerely screamed not just plans to nuke all of Ukraine, but he rushed 2,700 tactical but Hiroshima-dwarfing weapons to bordering Belarus. NATO publicly geared up for its only last resort, blitzkrieg rush Moscow before Putin launches 4,000 ICBMs. So Vlad loudly put all those and his tacticals on hair-trigger alert. Our State Department PR lied that no nuclear attack preparations were underway by Russia, as if the entire world had not heard that such final bomb preparations and alert was permanently complete and seconds from launch. Last year, Putin further readied nuclear attack, so imminent that the U.S. begged China and India to talk the monster down. Obviously, they succeeded, because you and I are still alive. Before I proceed with the NNPT enforcement appeal to keep humanity alive 15 and 150 years more, this lawsuit fast-tracks 1,000 times more urgent appeal. Hold off nuclear winter likely days after Zelensky punches towards Crimea and Russia with American tanks, shells, and F-16s. And your authority to stop this, Your Honor? Our Constitution gives only our Congress the power to declare war, which they'll certainly illegally do by appropriating World War III to Ukraine, then Moscow, then on their own airheads, and yours and mine. That Constitution also orders maximum successful defense of all 50 states. Not so safe and secure after 5,000 100-million-degree fireballs, quickly chilled by 2 years of midnight ice. Judge, you have the power. Now, what about the brains and moxie to order American Congress and executive to neither purchase nor deliver Russian army smashing weaponry and ammunition to Ukraine? We are pursuing constitutional lawsuits all over the world prohibiting all proxy war, foreign delivered attack weapons, obviously illegal, undeclared congressional and executive direct war attacks, our full military force upon an enemy only the represented American people have the right to make, choose, and declare attack through their legislators. Our U.S. government and weapons companies bribing thousands of legislators and executives have directly magnified hundreds of foreign wars with no constitutional declaration, people's representatives' choice of war or peace. Just corrupt politicians, weapons slamming worldwide, killing 15 million, losing most of those wars, and forever ruining America's decent place in the world. Just legally declaring their war choice would have gotten our weaponeer bribed congressmen and senators voted out every time, and they know it. We've got other suits coming to outlaw that campaign cash bribery and block every single weapon now sent to many dozens of wars where those weapons slaughter civilians and ruin the lives of millions of others while we and our proxies ignore, not full aid relieve, civilian survivors that our attacks tortured. 100% against our own congressional law prohibiting all such military aid to war criminals, both killing civilians and abandoning the ravaged survivors. We do not press that claim against Ukraine's supply. Ukrainian soldiers do not have at least a glaring record of war crimes or abandoning civilians after assaulting them. In your court is coming our suit to stop 100% of lethal foreign aid to the vast number of wars we can prove civilians slaughtered with American weapons and survivors abandoned, indeed often deliberately starved. Thus, every delivered weapon violating American law. And because world war, crime, and civilian protection conventions and laws are signed and sworn to by America, such international law adopted by us became our Constitution-ordered law to obey. Then why don't we? Because so few give a rat's ass that nobody sues, tells you to put our lawful Constitution, national laws, world treaties, and World War crime laws in force, no longer incessantly broken. And what about that forgotten or just spit upon greatest Constitution in history? Government lawyers demand that you leave it yellowing, curling, and moldering under glass in Philadelphia. If you do, then George, Ben, Thomas, and John are going to bust out of the ground with strong words demanding your honor of us and them. All of our suits are not fully organized, separated, or combined just yet. But we do present argument and law for you to confront an executive and Congress wreaking nothing but corrupt, commercial, criminal, genocidal havoc since 1947, slaughtering 15 million innocents. Stop their tyranny today before the ICBMs soon fly. Please first concentrate on our emergency appeal to block attack, long-range, offensive escalation arms to Ukraine. On the other hand, if we withhold the steady supply of frontline defense artillery shells needed, Russia is likely to gobble up all of Ukraine, possibly killing 1 million. I encourage a campaign with leaders and citizens to support defensive proxy war to save lives and protect civilians. Let's court public support of defense, not attack. After all of illegal American war atrocities, I think that declaring defense as a civilized foreign aid bill would is constitutional enough. After literally saving $8 billion by preventing Ukraine with insane attack assistance, from driving desperate nuclear insane Putin to world Armageddon, you are the ideal judge to fully intervene with orders to fast-track world work for NNPT nuclear disarmament. Defusing the conventional trigger gives us time. This white-hot emergency gives you reason. I am a history of corrupt war and law to end it freak. Every speech, a courtroom argument. I'm asking a foundation to send my tape to every federal judge on earth. Bone up for our lawsuits, Your Honors. They're coming. In these speeches and lawsuits are proven all fact and reason for you and judges in every nation to block all military offense sent to kill civilians, invariably followed by abandoning, not helping to recovery the abused survivors. Against all World War conventions, American law, and with giant evidence, almost every nation's laws. In this suit, I also request your order to block delivery and deny use, as possible, of American bombs driving 270,000 Yemenis and 500,000 Palestinians to starvation today. Your legal imperatives, I prove. Our Constitution's disobeyed order to obey our world and national law to protect American war-ruined and killed civilians undoubtedly requires your order. Then, after halting our civilian bombing by Israeli and Saudi Arabian proxies, please order our immediate entry into Gaza and Yemen war zones to fully feed, water, and house every last one of those miserable, barely surviving victims of our and proxies' atrocities. Judge, during your life before and on the bench, you witnessed decades of illegal war tyranny, savaging civilized world and national laws, finally to doom us all. The first judge to enforce sabotaged human laws of life and love was in fact born and became ever more committed by his own heart and character to learn, love, help, rescue, and rule. According to my history, for 10,000 years, military patriarchs' rule has only hammered greed, bigotry, and power, mostly for theft and murder. Every day on the bench sends you home to reflect. Plaintiffs brought me their harm. With my mercy and justice, I was able to stop much inhumanity with my legal power to help. One of my speeches tells the story of $500 million paid by fat cats to the Federalist Society to elevate American Supreme Court candidates who secretly pledged to serve corporate and elitist interests, empowered by harming the already powerless or members of groups they intend and decide to keep inferior. Sure enough, truly harsh Supreme Court rulings against the already lowly ever escalate, crushing voting rights, booming corrupt campaign cash, oppressing minorities, and ruining environmental rescue to enrich polluters. You are no corrupt Powermeister non-judge. We checked. When you said, "I do," in answer to the question of your protection and defense of our Constitution, Did you not plan to protect and defend we the people from more than potentially abusive tyrants? My speech is returned to Thomas Jefferson's Declaration of Independence, truly the framework of our Constitution. I compress his words, specifically telling people that when governments will violate our rights and hurt us, we must alter such tyranny to again effect our safety and happiness. To secure our rights of life and liberty, leaders must derive just powers from the consent of the governed. When government instead destroys these ends, it is our right to alter it and institute new government with principles and powers most likely to effect our safety and happiness. If you'll allow Steve to add to Thomas, weapons to the moon and all liberty, then life, not to mention happiness. Tyrants' unjust, evil powers are never consented to until propaganda brainwashing. The people rarely choose attack wars, but our right to reject them is forever denied. It is not just our right, but our duty to all around us harmed by tyranny and war to end every unjust, violent, excessive, corrupt, total leader power only seized by commercial military dictators having taken our democracy entirely away. We must absolutely, legally destroy absolute genocidal power. Then we will restore with God's and humanity's principles and powers of peace and equality true three-branch democracy, never again allowing commercial bribery of government to buy everyone's military doom with our damn taxes. There's our only safety and happiness, not to mention your dear family's future.